In the news this week, legal concerns prompt calls for a rethink on plans to ban conversion therapy. Doctors express objections to assisted suicide proposals. And Afghanistan overtakes North Korea as the most difficult place in the world to be a Christian. Hello. It has been a week of significant developments in the push to ban conversion therapy in Great Britain. The Christian Institute has called on the government to pause its plans until ministers can respond to legal concerns and data quality issues raised by the UK Equality and Human Rights Commission. The Commission warned that mainstream practices such as preaching and praying should not be criminalised, and that encouraging people to comply with biblical sexual ethics should not fall within the definition of conversion therapy. Ahead of the report, a group of 30 Conservative MPs warned the Prime Minister against rushing legislation, saying the proposals could criminalise parents and teachers who seek to help children confused about their gender. Their comments were echoed by former Number 10 aide Nikki DaCosta, who explained that a ban could prevent such children, particularly those with autism, from receiving appropriate help. She agreed the government is rushing the legislation and said it should be given proper time and consideration.
When somebody says, I object to pre-legislative scrutiny, which is when a committee of MPs and peers look at something, they call evidence. When people are nervous about further scrutiny, you have to ask the question, what are you afraid of that will come to light? Because this is only about adding a few more months into really making sure the legislation is good. Because the consequence, the alternative, is that you draft it so vaguely that the guinea pig will be whoever is hauled through the courts, whether that's a parent, whether that's a therapist, and they could be completely innocent and maybe exonerated at the end, but the legislation was so badly drafted that you've actually made a situation which didn't need to be. And therefore I say caution, because this really needs to be legislated for very carefully.
In Scotland, Holyrood's Equalities Committee released its report, but recommended that ordinary religious teaching and prayer should only be permitted if conducted in a non-directive way. But the Christian Institute warned that, if implemented, it would be the most extreme legislation on conversion therapy in the Western world. Most of the MSPs on the committee have previously indicated their support for the End Conversion Therapy campaign group, prompting the Institute to publicly question its impartiality and warn the Scottish Government it faces legal action if it passes ill-thought-out legislation. A former bishop and a top palliative care doctor have shared their concerns over proposals to axe end-of-life protections. In a letter to peers, the Right Reverend James Jones warned that changing the culture of caring in favour of providing medical assistance for patients to end their own lives creates too many risks and leaves us unprotected from the patronising way in which institutions, including sadly hospital trusts, can behave towards ordinary people. The latter coincided with a study from the Association of Palliative Medicine, which reported that nearly 9 in 10 respondents to a survey of its members felt there had not been enough positive press coverage about palliative care. One doctor said there had been a huge bias in media reports on the issue, while another suggested that current campaigns to see assisted suicide introduced were generating fear. The chair of the association, Dr. Amy Prophet, said it was clear members are deeply concerned at the way a small section of the media has painted a grossly misleading picture of palliative care. Persecution of Christians in Afghanistan has increased under the Taliban, making it the most difficult place in the world to live as a Christian, according to Open Doors' New World Watch list. The country is ranked worse for the first time, overtaking North Korea, which has topped the list for the last 20 years. Worldwide, Open Doors say that almost 6,000 believers were killed for their faith last year, and more than 360 million Christians experience high, very high, or extreme levels of persecution. On Afghanistan, the report says that since the Taliban takeover, Christians have had to flee or go into hiding. Those whose names are known to the Taliban are being hunted down. If men are discovered to have a Christian faith, they are executed. If women are discovered, they may escape execution but face a life of slavery or imprisonment. And finally, a couple who refused to abort one of their children to save the other have shared their joy that their twin boys are thriving 17 months on. Ashley and Kate Butcher were offered an abortion after doctors discovered their son's umbilical cords were tangled and they were sharing a placenta. Dad Ashley said that there was a 30 to 40% chance that one or both of them wouldn't make it, but there was no way that we were going to choose one of our babies over the other. Kate went on to deliver Arlen and Ivan via cesarean in August 2020. Ashley said the boys have such a close bond, get up to all sorts of mischief together, and look forward to telling their children the story of their birth when they are older. Well, that's all for this week. For more information on all of our stories, plus much more, visit our website at christian.org.uk. Until next time, goodbye.